Discuss means to overcome stalemate in GERD negotiations. Russia officials say Ethiopia's proposal to join BRICS is a positive step to boost its economic potential. Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed discussed with Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. The two leaders reiterated their mutual political will to enhance the bilateral relations between their two countries, politically, economically, and culturally, based on the common desire to achieve their mutual interests and prosperity of the two brotherly people, which will also actively contribute to the stability, peace, and security of the region, and their mutual ability to deal with common challenges. The two leaders discussed means to overcome the current stalemate to the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam negotiations, and in this regard, they agreed to initiate expedite negotiations to finalize the agreement between Egypt, Ethiopia, and the Sudan on the filling of the GERD and the rules of its operation, and they will do all the necessary efforts to finalize it in 4 months. And during the period of these negotiations, Ethiopia has indicated its commitment during the filling of the GERD within the hydrological year 2023-2024 not to cause significant harm to Egypt and Sudan in a manner that provides the water needs to both countries. This is according to the office of the Prime Minister of Ethiopia. President Sahle-Work Zewde called on women to cooperate, standing together for their common causes. The president also said that women coming to power should not be just to supplement numbers. Sahle-Work said this while she opened a training for female members of the parliament. The president also added that similar trainings of capacity building are necessary to serve the society. The training is jointly organized by President Office, the House of Representatives, and UN Women. The 6-day training will cover issues such as gender and leadership, self-empowerment, conflict resolution, peace and security, and institutionalization. The 43rd ordinary session of the Executive Council session of the African Union kicked off in Nairobi, Kenya. In his opening remarks, Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs Diaspora of Kenya, Dr. Alfred Muta, said Africa is rich with diverse resources in spite of its underdevelopment. He called on African countries to remove the restrictions on the free movement of people and goods across the continent to speed up integration. Kenya is ready to progressively abolish visa requirements for fellow Africans, the Cabinet Secretary added.
But for us to really enjoy the true economic benefits of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, we need to behave like the Europeans and allow for the free movement of people and trade. Our development agencies, such as the African Union Development Agency and others, cannot really succeed when there are all these restrictions among ourselves. To this end, in our contribution to this continental aspiration, Kenya is committed to progressively, and we are moving very fast by the end of this year, to abolish visas to citizens from African Union member states to make it easier to invest and do business in Kenya and across the continent. We are going to open the borders of Kenya. We do not fear our fellow Africans. Come, travel to Kenya, live, do business in Kenya, trade, make money in Kenya. And we hope we'll get reciprocity with the rest of you. Let us open our continent.
The Foreign Minister of Comoros and current chairman of the Executive Council, Doihir Daul Kamal, on his part stressed the full implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area is paramount to the economic integration of Africa.
ላሉም ደግሞ ተደራሽ መሆን የሚችል አሁን እንደምታየው ይሄ የእግር መንገድ እየተሰራ አለ። ቱሪስቶች ይሄንን ተጠቅመው ገብተው በእግር ወይም በጋማ ከብት እየገቡ ማየት ይችላሉ። ወደፊት ደግሞ ይሄንን መንገድ ደረጃውን አሳድገን ቱሪስቶች በቀላሉ እዚሁ አካባቢ ከሚገኘው ከዋናው መንገድ ተገንጥሎ 10 ኪሎ ሜትር ላይ ይሄንን ሀይቅ መጎብኘት የሚቻልበት እድል ይኖራል ማለት ነው።
Of the Russian Federation Council Committee on Economic Policy says Ethiopia's bid to join the BRICS nation is a positive step toward the right direction. Igor Morzov, who is the chair of AFROCOM, also sees a huge potential for economic cooperation between Russia and Africa. ETV has caught up with him while in Addis ahead of the upcoming second Russia-Africa summit to be held in St. Petersburg on July 27 and 28. Goshu Maliso has the following account.
The AFROCOM, which is the coordinated committee for economic cooperation with African countries, carries out its activities with the active support of the Federation Council of the Federal Assembly and government institutions of Russia. Igor Morozov heads this organization that aims to facilitate Russian companies' access to African markets. He increasingly present on the continent, making regular trips and waging an aggressive commercial diplomacy there. He has come to Addis Ababa, the political capital of Africa, ahead of the upcoming second Russia-Africa summit due to be held in St. Petersburg on July 27 and 28. He sees a huge potential for the business cooperation between Africa and Russia.
I would describe it as a huge potential for the development of the economy of both countries between Russia and Africa. The foundation for everything is technology and knowledge transfer from the Russian Federation to Africa.
It is recalled that Ethiopia has called on to be a member of the BRICS. He says Ethiopia to join the BRICS is the right step as it would have multiple benefits for the East African nation.
We're really pleased and we're happy for the people of Ethiopia because BRICS in the future is going to be an alliance that will include its own financial transaction system, its own currency, and we think that it's going to be one of the pillars for the future development of the world in general.
BRICS, originally named BRIC, Brazil, Russia, India, China, is an acronym for the world economies of Brazil, Russia, and China, which in 2010 had included the letter S for South Africa.
University of South Africa, UNISA, contributed 1,100 books for Ethiopia's Abrahot Library. Speaking at the event, Executive Director at UNISA, University of South Africa, Ethiopia Regional Learning Center, Tenisian Mugutuni says books available in Abroad Library provide public access to everyone to engage in reading. Shagao Yamato has the following account.
The four-storied Abroad Library, which is equipped with 1.5-kilometer-long shelves capable of holding 1.4 million books, is the biggest public library in Ethiopia and East Africa. Located in front of the Parliament Hall at Arat Kilo, the library could accommodate more than 2,000 users at a time. Realizing the significance of books to unlock the immense potential of Ethiopians, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed initiated and inaugurated the project in January 2022. Since then, books are being donated by different bodies and institutions, among others. On Thursday, UNISA, University of South Africa, Ethiopia Regional Learning Center, contributed over 1,100 books to Abroad Library. During the handover occasion, Executive Director for the College of Graduate Studies at the University of South Africa says libraries like Abroad provide public access to everyone to engage in reading.
We take a very, very serious position on ensuring that we commit to spreading out the power of knowledge to all entities, and because of that we are privileged to make a contribution of books to Abrahot Public Library. And of course this library is a seminal library in our opinion because it provides public access.
The executive director also indicated that different books are presented to the library so that everyone can broaden their mind based on their needs.
The 1,107 books that we offer today encompass a diverse range of genres, catering to readers of all ages and interests. Within these pages, you will find classics that have withstood the test of time. You will find educational resources that will enlighten and inspire, and you will also find contemporary works that reflect the ever-evolving world that we live in.
Highlighting the significance of education to foster literacy, he indicated that education is not limited to only classrooms, but it is also accessible to public places.
At UNISA, we firmly believe that education is not confined to the walls of classrooms alone. Education is a right that should be accessible to all, regardless of material access or levels of deprivation, regardless of people's age, regardless of their background or circumstance. It is through the pages of books that knowledge is shared, ideas are explored, and horizons are expanded.
He also expressed his hope that other universities will follow suit, taking UNISA's act as an exemplary.
We believe that education, access to information, represents a very powerful form of empowerment for every population. We hope that this action that we've done will also inspire other universities that have access to similar reading sources to be able to share with libraries. And in Ethiopia in particular, we believe that this newly opened library would benefit from an ongoing program where universities continue to donate their texts.
Uvai Yomano, director of Abroad Library, commended UNISA for their contribution and expressed its commitment to work in unison with the South African University. Apart from books, Abroad Library houses more than 300,000 local and 120,000 international research papers.
So for those of you who feel they need something to give strength to their relationship and love, this has also gotten to the Fish River Canyon. As you can see, we have a couple of love locks here on the chains that take you down the hiking path.
On this episode of Across All Borders Going South, it's all about the long road south. A trip to Fish River Canyon, Namibia. the world's second largest canyon. If you put in Google Map Windhoek to Hobos Camp, which is one of the lodges close to the Fish River Canyon, you will see immediately that it is about 644 kilometers, or if you started from Luderitz, it's 419 kilometers to the Hobos Camp. The Fish River Canyon is the second largest canyon in the world after the Grand Canyon. It commences at Seeheim at the lowest course of the river. The canyon is 161 kilometers long, 27 kilometers wide, and up to 550 meters deep. About the campsite or the Hobos accommodation and campsite offers different types of stays. So you've got lodges, and they've even got a pool for the rooms, and you've got the campsite.
And updates from the African news. UN officials says the conflict in Sudan is on the verge of civil war. The head of the United Nations mission in Sudan, Volker Perthes, says the Sudan conflict could turn into an ethnic and tribal civil war as warring sides step up efforts to recruit fighters. And here is more from African news.
Sudan's warring sides must face accountability for the crimes committed in their conflict, which risks spiraling into regional crisis, the head of UN mission in the country said. The fighting, which has gone on for 3 months, risks morphing into an ethnic, tribal and ideological conflict which is much closer to being a full-blown civil war, the official said.
Both parties cannot, or so it seems, win militarily with what they have in terms of manpower. So both parties have been recruiting beyond their own formations on an ethnic basis, a tribal basis, or even an ideological basis. So here we are at the verge of this war between two military formations morphing into an ethnicized and tribalized civil war.
The neighboring countries that are directly or indirectly affected by the war in Sudan are meeting in Cairo, Egypt, to find a solution that can end the war in the country.
With the recent meeting in Cairo, the aim here is to get all the neighbors of Sudan together, and that is something we have actually been asking for as United Nations, and which is important because all neighbors are impacted by the war. They have different concerns, different interests. So it's very important to have a conversation between these neighbors whether one could get a unified stance, a unified position on stopping that war, on ending this war, despite the different concerns and the different interests.
The conflict has resulted almost 3,000 deaths and 3 million displaced persons and refugees.
And reminder of top stories: Ethiopia and Egypt discuss means to overcome the stalemate and GERD negotiations. And Russian officials say Ethiopia's proposal to join BRICS is a positive step to boost its economic potential. Thank you so much for joining us, and this is Addis News Hour. I'm Sintayo Tamrat with the news. Have a great day.